911 location of your emergency.
Breaking news out of North Idaho. Moscow police are investigating a homicide on King Road.
Is she breathing?
No.
So 5'10", all black. Could you see what color his eyebrows were or anything like that?
No, I don't remember what his eyes look like either.
Officers discovered the bodies of Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Maddie Mogen, and Kaylee Goncalves, but no weapon has been located at this time.
Arrested. That's 28-year-old Bryan Kohberger in custody today.
Mr. Kohberger allegedly stalked one of the victims. That's false.
We do not have evidence that the defendant had direct contact with 1122 or with residents of 1122, but we can put his phone in that area. There are many residences in that area. It's a dense population of mostly college-related occupants.
Everything is alleged. Hey, you guys, how's everyone doing today? This one's going to be faceless because I just want it to be. I'm literally still in my star print moo-moo, sipping my coffee, not really giving a shit this morning. I have to get all dolled up for a sponsorship ad later, so I'm trying to just be a troll as long as possible before I have to put any effort into the day. So we're going to do this faceless, but I'm going to be back later because we've got other things that we're going to be discussing here. This was an interesting thing that came out in the Drunk Turkey interview. Now, I posted some sort of clip a couple days after we went over that crazy ass interview, and someone posted in the comments, for all of those that are trying to take up for Brent Turvey, he did blah, 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 whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, where's your proof? Because he was like, oh, I think the wording was, he has been deemed not credible in over 20 cases, which is, that's crazy as shit. And then apparently had like two situations of some sort of whatever with college, whatever. Same thing that Steve was trying to say. Now, I looked around myself and I could not find anything. I did my own searches the way that I always do things, and I could not find anything. I couldn't find anybody talking shit on a social media. I couldn't find anybody talking about anything. Okay. Nothing, at least nothing that is searchable. I'll put it that way. Okay. So then I went to ChatGPT, and the reason why I say that ChatGPT is not a good source for certain things is because it will, unless prompted, literally search the depths of everything. So it will go in and it will find things that are not true, but because it has so many views, so many comments, so many shares, so much traction, and people act like it's official information. The way that it's worded is very official. It'll take it as official information and implant it into the case. I've seen it 1,000 times when people are presenting information, which is why I say not to use it when you're trying to find case facts, okay? Mathematical, science, stuff like that, it's a great tool. But the reason why I used it for this is because I knew that unless prompted to not find every little nook and cranny, it is going to go out and find things that are even not true because it is posted somewhere on social media. It is posted somewhere on the internet. It couldn't find anything. It couldn't find an article from a university. It couldn't find anything from anywhere when it comes to whatever the hell Steve Goncalves is claiming here. So what we're going to do in this is we're not going to be here for very long, maybe 30, 45 minutes, less than an hour is what I'm assuming, maybe an hour. I'm going to play you what he said, very short, 30-something second clip, and then I'm going to show you what ChatGPT found, because there is an instance from back in, I don't know, something happened like with YMCA where another person did something and Turvey like spoke up and like outed this person. So I don't know if the same idiots that are giving the Goncalveses all their backhanded incorrect information, as always, are once again doing that. And again, if everything is as legit as it seems to look, Steve doesn't really know how to get much information that's current and useful. I mean, look what he found about me. That shit's 15 years old. What are you doing? So we're just going to take a look here at what he said and then what I found. In way of, I don't understand why he's coming out here saying some crazy shit. Like, it's one thing to attack the fact that he's out here talking if you want to be mad about that, right? But to just come out and straight up be like, oh, well, he's been accused of messing with, young, cute college girls and blah, 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 getting in trouble at universities. No wonder he associates so well with Kohberger. They're the same person. That's some crazy shit. Like, that's some crazy shit. And again, it's one thing for us to have an opinion on the bullshit that Steve Goncalves comes out and says his damn self, on their actions and their lies, especially when you have receipts of their lies. One very big one we're going to be discussing here soon, probably later today. But to just come out and like blankly, with no backing, with no proof, with nothing, and you're the first person that says this shit. Where's your proof, Steve? Like, you have all of this bullshit that you're constantly talking about, and none of it ever comes out to be truthful. None of it ever comes out to be accurate. So where is your proof for all of this? Like, it's disgusting that he would come out and say all of this and put this aura on Turvey for no reason whatsoever with no actual proof. It's really just gross. It's really nasty. Welcome, OG Crypto. Thank you so much for joining. Hey, Caramel. How you doing? How you doing? Thank you for the jewels, you guys. Oh my gosh, Tammy. Oh my God. Thank you so much for the $99.99. I appreciate that so much. You are so supportive of the channel. You always have been. I very much appreciate you. Holy crap. Thank you so much. And thank you for these jewels, guys. 13 months. Welcome, New Kitty Bubbles. Yes, he's in here right now. He's in his tree. So he settled in on the shoe rack last night. I posted a picture of that yesterday. And I took some pictures and videos. And I'm really behind on doing anything on my second channel. But eventually they'll get there. Calypso was doing her damnedest. I mean, the second he came in the house and she put him down, Calypso was on him. Smelling him and staring at him. I told her before we went across the street, I said, I'm going to bring you back a little boyfriend. Hold on, I'll be right back. She took that shit serious. Oh my God. She got like right on him. She got within like a couple inches of him. And I guess when one of the boys walked into the kitchen, it kind of like spooked him a little bit. So he kind of hissed at her, and she kind of like got a little pissed off at him for a second, and she kind of backed away. But then she started getting closer to him again. She's the only one so far that he's like get real close to him. Like, he's let us pet his head and stuff like that. But in way of like the cats, Zelda ain't having it. She's pissed. There's another cat in the house. She hid in the spice cabinet all freaking day. Well, not all day, for a few hours. And then she came out, and I don't know. She gets like that when there's changes, but now she's fine. She's running around the house. It's a transition. But we had to rearrange the whole house last night and put all the cat stuff for the current cats, the older cats, in my room. The dogs were in Slade's room. Don slept in here with me so that he wasn't just, all by himself in the whole house, technically, with both of our doors shut. So he slept in here with me and the cats. And we kind of just let Bubbles have some free space in the kitchen where he was. So we put his litter box next to him there. We put some food out in front of him right there. We put his cat tree next to him. So he had all of his own things. And he eventually came out from the shoe rack. I also bought one of those pheromone thingamabobbers that you plug in. I ordered one, had it delivered from Walmart when I realized that we kind of, like I said, we figured he was going to be a little bit more difficult than the other ones, because this is like the fourth place he's been in like a year. And whoever put him in the shelter before the neighbor's parents adopted him, before her mom passed away this past December and she got him, they declawed him. So I instantly already knew, okay, he's already going to be more defensive than the others, because he knows he can't defend himself. They know that kind of stuff. But he's okay. He's going to take a few days longer than I thought. But I also kind of knew that. But he's in here. He's chilling. He's in his own things, which I'm glad he had, because it'll help with the transition a lot better. Oh, hold on, guys. But she's also checked on him last night. She checked on him this morning. He's doing good. He's calm. He lets us pet his little head, and he's in his own little tree cave. So he's good. And he's in here with me. So whenever he gets up and walks around, he can just do whatever he wants. But yeah, that's another reason why I'm just trying to be a troll as much as possible today before I have to put my face on and do things, because like I'm so tired. Oh my God. Welcome. The lore of the wild coconuts. That's funny. Thank you so much for the $19.99, Lisa. How you doing? Thank you for these jewels, you guys. Okay. So let me open this up right here. This is again like 37 seconds, I think. Yeah, 37 seconds from that crackheaded ass interview that they did. And by the way, I did take the interview and put it on the archive channel For those of you that have not watched this disgusting travesty, but also don't want to go over there and watch it, let me put the link in the chat real quick. That way, if you haven't seen the whole damn thing, you can go watch it without, you know, all of that dumb shit. Let's see, where's it at? Yeah, Kohberger archive channel right here. So here's a link if you haven't seen it on the archive channel for the case, not to Daniel's channel because F that dumbass. But this is the little clip right here, and then we're gonna go over just the couple things that ChatGPT told me because it couldn't find shit. Couldn't find a damn thing. This is another thing we're going to be going over very, very soon. I recorded that the second that it came out and was available on YouTube. You have to be really, 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 really careful with Dr. Phil. He and his team, which, by the way, if y'all don't know, he's not a damn doctor. He's not a real doctor. His shit was taken from him. Look into that if you don't know about that. But his people operate the same way Netflix does. So you have to go in and you have to flip and edit and da-da-da-da. And I took out his ads that he has in there, some shit like that. So we'll be going over it this week. It's on the list. Probably not today. I want to do Moscow Monday today and then something else, hopefully. We'll see what I have time for. We're for sure doing 2. I'm hoping 3. But we'll see. But here, I'm going to go ahead and play this clip real quick so that you can see exactly what it was he said so that I can show you what I didn't find.
So I hope him and his book buddy make enough money so that's his career, because he may be looking at some retraining. Maybe he goes back to the university. I heard he used to be in the university and harassed a bunch of young, cute girls. So maybe he should go back there. Maybe that's why he really feels aligned with BK. Like,
yeah,
they had this thing where girls complained about him back when he was in the university, kind of drove him out of there and got him into the courtroom. He might feel very like similar to what BK went through.
Yeah. Another person that identifies with him. It's insane.
And notice how this little dumb shit right here just sits there and giggles like a schoolgirl every time Steve says something and disagrees with him. Like he's got no opinion of his own at all.
It's a bunch of young, cute girls. So maybe he should go back there. Maybe that's why he really feels aligned with BK. Like,
yeah,
they had this thing where girls complained about him back when he was in the university, kind of drove him out of there and got him into the courtroom. He might feel very like similar to what BK went.
See, this dumb shit, he's just sitting there like making faces and just agreeing with him, not even thinking like, damn, this dude's really accusing him of like sexual harassment in college and I'm just letting him say this shit on my channel. No, he just sits there like a dumbass. He's a piece of furniture on his own channel. That's why Steve went over there. Steve will never talk to anybody that's actually going to challenge him. Actually ridiculous. Okay, anyway, he sucks and he's stupid. So this is what I found on ChatGPT. And again, I did some searching around as soon as like this comment came out, like he said that. And I was like, I can't find anything. What is this guy talking about? And then I put a clip out for something else that happened. I think it was, God, what was the damn, what the frick was the clip? You know what? It's on the channel. I don't even freaking know. I put a clip out from that thing and somebody put something else under it about, you know, not credible in 20 different cases and 2 girls, blah, 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 whatever. And I went looking for the shit again. And then when I couldn't find anything, I was like, let me see if ChatGPT might be able to find something that I didn't find. And it didn't. There's nothing here. There's actually nothing here. I just don't understand why Steve thinks that he can just get away with saying this kind of crazy shit with no proof of nothing. Like, what is wrong with you? Is your lawyer not advising you to shut the hell up? Is your lawyer not advising you on anything at all? Like, what are you paying Shannon Gray for? Anyway, So I started off with just asking it, can you tell me who Dr. Brent Turvey is, please? And I didn't give it anything else. Look, I cannot scroll up any higher. All right. I cannot scroll up any higher. I did not give it any other prompts. I just simply said, can you tell me who Dr. Brent Turvey is, please? And it ran me down who he was. He is a forensic criminologist, forensic scientist, crime scene analyst, crime reconstructionist, author, and criminal profiler. He has been working in forensic casework since 1996 and has become particularly well known for analyzing major violent crime cases. Okay. So then it starts going off on his background, all of his education, and then it starts talking about all of the different things that he has done in the TV show since. In way of, these are the things that you might have heard of before, but these are the things he does in real life. He works for crime scene analysis, crime reconstruction, forensic science, forensic criminology, criminal profiling, victimology, sexual assault investigations, homicide, serial homicide, staged crime scenes, false allegations, mass homicide, human trafficking, and other violent crime investigations. He also says he has consulted for law enforcement agencies, prosecutors, defense attorneys, and government/NGO organizations internationally. And if you follow him on social media, he does go all over the place. He lives in Alaska, I think is his actual residence. Sitka, I think. Sitka, I believe, is where he actually lives. But there's nothing in all of this that's going to show anything in way of what Steve is accusing him of. There's literally nothing at all. And again, this is just running down his stuff. I haven't asked the question yet. Okay, now here's the question. Okay, can you find anything on the entire internet showing this man was ever in trouble for anything related to a sex scandal at any time? Yes, I searched specifically for Brent E. Turvey plus sex scandal, sexual misconduct, sexual harassment, sexual assault, inappropriate conduct, disciplinary action, complaints, lawsuits, arrests/charges, and professional misconduct, including older material. What I found, I did not find a credible source showing that Brent Turvey himself has been involved in a sex scandal, sexual misconduct allegation, sexual assault allegation, or sexual harassment allegation. It talks about different books that he has written about these things because this is his specialty. This is his specialty. Okay. Then it gives you a little bit more information that it finds. It says, but I did find something else significant about his history. It talks about how in 2012, Turvey sued the city of Sitka in Alaska for defamation after a police memorandum disputed his claim that he had previously been a sworn investigator with law enforcement credentials for the Sitka Police Department. Turvey disputed that characterization and sued for $275,000. The reporting also says this wasn't his first lawsuit against the city. He had filed another defamation lawsuit in 2002, which went to trial and resulted in a jury ruling against him. So he didn't win that one. But he also isn't obviously a novice to filing for defamation. So if this is actually not true, the way that I don't seem to find anything, I don't understand how Steve can't sit here and be worried. You just said that about an actual professional, like somebody with an actual reputation that you are actually hindering with your bullshit. This is not a sex scandal, but a documented dispute concerning his professional credentials and relationship with law enforcement. I'm hoping someone needs to shut his ass up eventually. I mean, damn. I mean, holy shit. It says, I also found Turvey's name in court documents, including sexual assault cases, including the Daniel Holtzclaw litigation. But in those records, Turvey is acting as a forensic expert analyzing the investigation/evidence. They cannot substantiate the claim. So then I said, there are no indications of Dr. Brent Turvey doing anything inappropriate with a college student. Then it says that it wants to be very precise in the wording to make sure that it's finding what I'm looking for. Like, it's looking for what I'm asking for because I want it to find it. If it's there, I'm asking for it to produce it. I want to know if it's there. All that it can find is where he has been giving material in these instances as an expert. As an expert. Not as somebody facing charges or being accused. I found material involving college students and sexual allegations, but Turvey is appearing in those materials as an expert/author discussing or investigating allegations involving other people. For example, in 2017, an article about his book, False Allegations, discusses college students who make or are subject to sexual assault allegations. The article quotes Turvey discussing how investigators should evaluate such allegations. It does not allege that Turvey engaged in misconduct with the student. I also found a 2002 Kennesaw State University publication documenting Turvey being invited to give a lecture on criminal profiling and sexual homicide investigations. Interestingly, the invitation came from a student who had seen Turvey's work and contacted him because he wanted him to speak at the university. Again, there is nothing in that account suggesting inappropriate conduct. And there are court records where Turvey worked on sexual assault cases involving college-age people, but again, he was functioning as a forensic expert. So then we broadened it some more. It asked for a specific story. I said, I don't have a specific story. I don't want to give it. I'm not trying to lead it. I want it to give me what it finds. Throw the net. I have not heard a specific story. I am trying to debunk rumors in my initial Google search for anything related to Turvey being fired, made to resign, reprimanded, or accused, and was unable to find anything. So then it tried to look for even more things. Fired from university or other professional position for misconduct, forced to resign because of misconduct, formally reprimanded or disciplined for sexual misconduct, accused of sexual harassment or sexual assault involving a student, involved in a documented sex scandal, the subject of a publicly documented professional disciplinary proceeding of that nature? No. And it also goes on to talk about gaps in employment. More importantly, I'm not seeing a gap in his publicly documented career that obviously corresponds with a firing/resignation scandal. And then again, this is talking about in 2019, he's doing work with Mary Ferguson versus the city of Sitka. And this is him doing work as a forensic investigation. So then I asked it to keep going. Now it breaks down his college, breaks down its career. There is no lapses that it can find to where, well, maybe in this section of time, he was trying to overcome allegations and that's why he couldn't find work. No. Also checked universities individually, combined his name with fired, terminated, resigned, resignation, dismissed, reprimanded, disciplined, investigation, complaint, misconduct, sexual harassment, inappropriate relationship, student, college student, professor, adjunct, and lawsuit. Did not find anything. Did not find anything. And again, this is just talking about Turvey being invited by a student to come and do a speech, but there was nothing wrong. In 2002, he authored criminal profiling, somebody authored criminal profiling and identified Turvey as a private forensic scientist, criminal profiler, and says he was an adjunct lecturer at Bond University. And there was nothing found at Bond University in way of sexual misconduct or harassment or anything else either. So then it says he was this professor from 2003 to 2015. Looked here too. Looked in all these universities, put all the universities, all the terminologies, everything together with Brent Turvey's name, and could not find anything. And again, it mentions the lawsuit with Sitka for defamation where they tried to say that he wasn't an investigating officer. And then, of course, it talks about the situation with the Kohberger case. So, and we're not done because there's something else that's going to bring up. My current conclusion, after going through the career history rather than just Googling his name, no credible evidence that Turvey was fired from a university for misconduct, that Turvey was forced to resign from a university, Turvey was reprimanded for sexual misconduct, that Turvey was accused of having an inappropriate sexual relationship with a college student, that Turvey was accused of sexual harassment of a student, or that Turvey was involved in documented sex scandal. I do find long-term university teaching appointments, long-term forensic criminal profiling career, professional legal disputes concerning his credentials and relationship with Sitka PD, which is interesting because, again, he still lives there. So he's arguing with his own police department a lot, it seems. Interesting. Litigation involving those professional disputes and a current 2026 dispute with Kohberger's former defense attorneys concerning confidentiality. So then I gave it a while. I said, I think this is good. This might be a good stopping point. But then I decided to go a little bit further. Okay, now I want you to look before his career, back when he himself was in college. Are there any reported incidents of complaints filed about Brent Turvey at any point in time throughout his life that might be mentioned on social media or local articles from town papers or university magazines? And this is where an instance came up where he was someone who seems to have spoken out on a situation. And I think it had something to do with YMCA. It's going to get here just in a second. So it looked for Tigard High School, Oregon, class of 1988. He graduated the year I was born. That's crazy. Portland State University and the University of New Haven. Portland State, all these dates. So it took the colleges. It took the years. And then it took his name in different terms and could not find anything. But there is something that apparently did happen back in 1987 that he wrote about himself in this rape investigation handbook, where he says a friend named Tom invited him to a supervised youth sleepover at a local YMCA where Tom volunteered. He begins describing a traumatic experience that occurred there and explicitly says that he is leaving many of the details out for the sake of the person. Now, I don't know if I can actually open this. I'll check here in just a second. This is not an allegation against Turvey. This is Turvey himself describing an event from his adolescence that appears to have been formative and traumatic for him. So let me see if I can get anything from this at all. I don't know if I can. So it does this. And I wonder. If it's just like part of his story for why he got into things. This isn't where I can like Control F and try to find anything like this. Maybe it's here. Oh, yeah. Oh, I found it. Okay. So right here. Oh, no. Why did you do this to me? I just found it. Oh, my God. Oh, there it is. Okay. So let's read this. This is where it's coming from right here. Okay, let's just read the whole author's note. Students, clients, colleagues, and new friends. Each finds their own way to ask me the same question. What made you decide to choose this work? It is an incredibly important question to ask. It tends to surface when the conversation runs over ground that is particularly painful for them as they begin to reflect on themselves and their relationship to those who commit violent crime. How do people... Oh, I'm going to have to learn how to use this thing because it's ridiculous. Okay, hold on. Okay. Can y'all see that? I think y'all can. All right. How do people do these terrible things? How can they be stopped? Why am I drawn to understand them? Am I more like them than not? Am I responsible for them? How could anyone do something like this to someone else? What makes the work important enough to you that you would take on the burden of knowledge and risk finding out things that are still difficult to speak of openly? Before I unpack my emotional bags and give my answers, I think about who they are and what they may need. I try to measure my response out accordingly. The question that I'm trying to answer for myself before I give them both barrels is whether or not they really want to hear the response that I'm about to give. The truth is I didn't choose this work. It chose me. Or, put in a different way, what didn't kill me to find me. Now bear with me here, as I'm going to leave a lot of the details associated with this part of my life out. Not necessarily for my sake, but for the sake of the person involved and for the sake of brevity. Suffice it to say that as much as I've related here, it's not even half of it. It's much worse. It began in March of 1987. I was almost 17 years old and still a high school student in Tigard, Oregon, a small semi-affluent suburb in Portland. A friend of mine named Tom invited me to go with him to a supervised youth sleepover at a local YMCA where he volunteered his time. Okay, go on to the next page. Oh, that's too magnified. Okay, here we go. Can you do it one more time? Oh, no. Okay. It goes on to say, at the time, I was painfully depressed over life in general, felt that I had a right to be miserable, and generally wanted nothing more than to be left completely alone. But my friends were pretty faithful, and we spent a lot of time talking about life late into many nights. What happened today? What would we do tomorrow? And what did we miss about yesterday? My friends even put up with my ridiculously self-serving misery poetry and encouraged my dangerous flirtation with marathon-length music binges consisting mostly exclusively of Pink Floyd and post-Genesis Peter Gabriel. Was he an emo? Was he a 1980s emo? That's fine. We all were a little emo as a teenager. So back to the YMCA. I was actually staying with my best friend Ben because my parents and I had been arguing and we needed some distance from each other. Tom and I packed our bags for the night. It was Friday, left Ben's and headed out for the YMCA. When we met up with the youth group, we decided to spend our social time lifting weights, an interest that Ben did not share and that I have all but successfully disabused myself of. While we were lifting and talking about lifting and much more we should be lifting, two girls from the group came over to speak with us. They both knew Tom. One of them was Kelly, not her real name. Kelly was a little more than a year younger than Tom and I, attended St. Mary's Academy in Portland, volunteered some of her afternoons at the YMCA, and was very attractive and incredibly intelligent, I would later learn and fail to fully appreciate. Naturally, I was completely uninterested in her, being the self-absorbed idiot that I'd become by that time. Undeterred by my idiocy, she followed Tom and me around for the rest of the evening. Looking back, she was probably trying to cheer me up, but I had learned the fine art of being disconsolate, so her work was not easy. We wound up having a conversation together that took us well past midnight. I came to the conclusion that she was very intelligent, very presumptuous, and very persistent. I don't recall the exact conversation anymore, but I'm sure that I managed to make everything we spoke about relate to my own pain and misery and the injustice of being 16 and without my own car or something insipid like that. Regardless, she found a way to make a big impression on me by simply being herself and by listening to me complain. With the omission of a few slightly embarrassing, mostly innocent, and only self and semi-important details that established her in my mind as unabashed and curious, that one night sleepover concluded, and I found myself wondering who the girl was and whether or not I would ever see her again. But that Sunday, I was back at my friend Ben's house where I was still staying, Kelly and Tom's acquaintance, and we were waiting for Tom to come over that he could give us her telephone number. I was thinking about calling her, but hadn't really come up with a plan regarding what I would say if she were actually on the other end of the phone. While we were waiting, Kelly called asking for Ben because she was looking for my number. I became very nervous very quickly. The phone found its way into my hand. She did most of the talking, and to my shock, she asked me out. I had never been on a date, let alone asked anyone out on a date, let alone been asked out on a date by anyone. I was excited and horrified. On our first date, I picked her up from the YMCA in Portland sometime in the evening and took her home to a house near the farming community of Wilsonville. It's about an hour's drive if you don't take the interstate. We stopped at a little park in the city of Metzger, where I used to go with my sisters when I was 5 or 6 before my father died of cancer. We talked a lot. It seemed to go over very well. Over the next month or so, I inflicted on her my narcissistic, self-deprecating love poetry, as well as full courses of Pink Floyd and Peter Gabriel played as loud as a stereo in my mother's station wagon could manage. To her credit, she listened attentively and really seemed to care about what I had to say. Again, this was a completely new experience for me. A beautiful, intelligent, and attractive human was interested in who I was and how I felt. I was truly devoted to my friend Ben and felt like I was less when I wasn't with him. Before long, I was able to manage it so that Ben, Kelly, and I were doing things together. Movies, dinner, long drives. I was very close to Ben. He was the most important person in the world to me at that time and for many years after. It was important for me to include him because he was an important part of who I was. For a little while, a month or so, it seemed as though I had the world figured out. My problems seemed less heavy when distributed evenly between the three of us. I never had to be alone, always a huge issue with me. And Ben and Kelly really got along well. Her unabashedness was the perfect antidote for his constant fear of public humiliation. We were having a lot of fun together. I forgot how miserable I was through these two people, their friendship, and Kelly's great affection. It was sometime in May that Kelly disclosed to me. Disclosure in this instance meant that she told me about her history of SA. Of course, I didn't know what it meant to be disclosed to, and I certainly didn't know that disclosure was the type of thing that happened often enough for it to have a name. But sure enough, there we were in my 1973 Toyota Corolla. My parents paid $350 for it. Listening to the end of Mama by Genesis. It was one of my favorites at the time, and Kelly said to me something along the lines of, "This makes me think about someone who is going to rape someone and hurt them. Did I ever tell you that I was sexually molested?" The words materialized that easily. Now keep in mind that my experiences with life were very limited, and my experiences with dating the opposite sex were very much in their infancy. So this is the story that got Turvey into this. Still, with a stepfather who was an attorney and a mother who was ARN, you'd think I would have been able to handle it a little better, but ultimately I didn't. That night in the car, she detailed to me the full extent of her past abuse. As I remember it, she told me that from the time she was 9 or 10 until the time she was 12, her older brother, 8 or so years older, had SA'd her on a regular basis. As I recall, it ended when she invited a friend over to spend the night and her brother attempted to have with her friend. Kelly intervened on the friend's behalf and Kelly was struck. She then went to her parents and told them what was going on. The police were called, but ultimately the police and Kelly's parents worked to convince her that keeping her brother's behavior a secret was the best thing for everyone, you disgusting people. Oh my fucking God. So they did, and it was never spoken of. Yeah, that's why Jared with AWP ended up where he was after all these years, because instead of handling it when they needed to, they sent his ass off to Mexico for 2 years before he came back and became an even bigger loser. The biggest grifter on the planet. And lost people thousands in a stock fraud little scheme. Damn. That's wild. Okay. A year or so later, her family had moved to Tampa Bay, Florida. Her father was a salesman and they moved around a great deal. An older man named Joe soon befriended a now very depressed and emotionally ashamed Kelly. He watched her ride through the park every day on her bike. She loved to ride, or more accurately, she loved any activity that kept her out of her home. So Joe watched and waited, and when he was ready and when she had learned enough, he approached her. Joe began to invite her over to his trailer after school. He was nice to her, bought her gifts, flowers, and made her feel special and important and above all, desirable. He also introduced her to alcohol and corn. He would get her a little drunk, turn on his films, and have her do things to him. In time, he was also performing things on her. In exchange for this, she was given gifts, treated like an adult, and made to feel needed. I'm not sure how that relationship ended, but it did end when her family moved out of Florida to Oregon and she began attending St. Mary's Academy in downtown Portland. Keep in mind that St. Mary's Academy is no joke. They put out some brilliant girls there, and Kelly quickly proved herself to be one of them. About this time, her ongoing self-esteem problems intensified, and she wanted to talk about her past situations. She approached a school counselor at St. Mary's and tried to disclose the essay involving her brother. According to Kelly, the female counselor told her to stop making up stories. Stop making up stories. And gave her a litany of consequences that she could suffer for telling such terrible lies. Catholic school, right? St. Mary's Academy, is that a Catholic school? Because that's not fucking shocking. Catholic, yeah. That's not shocking. That's the first place you'll find it. That's the first place you'll find it. That's nasty, bro. Wow. So she buried it inside of herself again, telling maybe one or two friends and swearing them to secrecy. A year or so after that, Kelly told me she got into a relationship with a really nice college guy who attended Portland State University, only a block away from St. Mary's Academy. This guy met her at the YMCA, where he was a part-time counselor. He was, by all appearances, a good Christian boy who brought her Ziggy paraphernalia and told her that she was special. The week before she met me for the first time at YMCA, he had taken her to his grandmother's house in Lake Oswego, gotten her really drunk, and forced her to have S with him on the kitchen floor. This girl's been through it, bro. This girl has been through it, bro. My God. It appeared to my limited senses that Kelly was very ashamed of what had happened. It's not even her fault. See, that's what always pisses me off about this, is that the people that have this done to them by people without their consent, boy or girl, it's always the victim that's made to feel ashamed instead of the piece of shit that was capable. Oh, man. That's insane. Okay. It appeared to my limited senses that Kelly was very ashamed of what had happened. She seemed to feel that these were things that she had brought on herself, that she had encouraged them, and that she could have prevented them from happening. Kelly appeared to believe that she was to blame for these things, and she secretly believed that perhaps she even deserved them. She had resolved to keep them a secret so that others wouldn't think she was a bad person, but she needed to tell me. She wanted my acceptance and needed me not to judge her. She needed a true friend. Keep in mind that the only person I had ever loved outside of myself by that time was Ben. And he could take care of himself, 6'4", 250 pounds, very strong, very intimidating when he wanted to be. So it was really the first time I'd ever felt someone I truly loved was in real pain and needed protecting. I began to feel these strong protective desires swell up and over me. Thanks to my stepfather, I felt that I knew what to do with these feelings in general. My stepfather, the attorney, had imbued in me since the age of 7 a potent and unswerving sense of justice and how it can be lawfully achieved. He also taught me that the only way to handle bad things was to tear them down to their essential truths and throw a lot of light on them so that everyone could see just how erroneous or harmful these truths were. Yeah, damn straight, no matter how bad it gets. Now, incest and sexual molestation can only exist for any length of time in an environment of mutually agreed upon secrecy. Both the victim and the offender have a great deal to lose if the truth comes out. Ultimately, victims cannot fully heal and move forward until the truth is reconciled in them and the perpetrators of the abuse are made accountable. If the victim is made to be accountable for the abuse while the offender escapes all responsibility, the victim's shame and guilt and confusion increase dramatically. Yeah. Yeah. Knowing this, a little knowledge making me incredibly dangerous, and knowing that the brother, and now in my view, the parents, had never been accountable for Kelly's SA, I decided it was my duty to hold them accountable. This was arrogant presumption, especially given her evident pain and my growing inability to deal with that pain directly. But before I could do much more than take a few steps backwards and regroup and try to figure out who I was in this completely new world, things took an unexpected turn. Kelly's father accepted a sales position with his company in Columbus, Georgia. This was a huge deal because they were not supposed to ever move again. He had promised the family stability and even purchased a beautiful new home with some land. It was no small decision. I bet you they moved because Kelly told him. And they needed to move away from where now the locals are going to start talking. Man. Kelly grew more depressed. She needed my support, and I was too busy making her pain my own to be there for her in the way that she needed. And her family did not want her discussing their past with me at all. So she found a very powerful way to let us know just how fragile. Oh my God. I have a feeling this is going to go somewhere pretty bad. Just reading that right there. Like, I don't like how this feels like this is going to end. That's how it feels, right? They moved because she was talking. And for those of you that are just now coming in and seem to be confused, we're discussing Brent Turvey's background because Chief Goncalves came out on the Drunk Idiot Show and said that Turvey had been accused of doing some sort of harassing shit a long time ago in some sort of college thing or some bullshit like that. And I went back into stuff and looked for things myself, could not find anything at all. Then I used ChatGPT to dig further because it'll go to places that have unofficial information and act like it's fact. And I was trying to see where exactly Steve got this dumb shit from, and it couldn't find it. There was nothing that it could find in anything official, in anything from a university, in anything on social media. No one just talking smack somewhere on some website. It can't find it. This is the only instance where Turvey seems to have some sort of relationship to some sort of harassment and SA case. And as it seems to be, yes, he's explaining exactly what his motivation is for getting into what he got into. My uncle was murdered. That piece of shit also went on, as far as the family that has done the research can tell, to kill not only his own mother, but another person as well. And there's not enough proof out there that we can viably find with the resources that we have right now to put this freaking killer away. That's the story that I've been dealing with for the past forever. That's the reason why I went to college. That's the reason why I got my degree. That's the reason why I got into this, because I am damn determined to be able to find what I can find to do what I need to do to solve what needs to be solved for my own family's sake. Turvey is giving the same story. Turvey is giving the same type of story. He is telling you exactly what it is that got him into this. And it turns out the first girl he seemed to ever really care for has a horrible, horrible history. And she confided in him. And he instantly took it for what it was and viewed her family as enemy territory because they knew that the brother had been messing with her. The parents told her to keep it quiet. And he wasn't going to just sit there and do nothing. And before it seems like he could even try to go any further, the dad just mysteriously takes a position in another state and moves the entire family away. Because now his daughter has now talked after they moved to this town to get away from the town already knowing what was going on, because the brother tried to make a move on one of her friends that slept over. So they couldn't keep that part quiet because the friend went out and told her family. The cops got called for this situation. Well, now the town knew. So the Kelly's family picked up and moved to get away from the rumor. And then Kelly finally felt like she could confide in Brent Turvey when he was 17. as they were dating. And this is what turned him into what he is today. This is what the stepping stone was. That's what this story is. This is from a book that he wrote himself. And as a matter of fact, when I'm done with this, I'll give you all the link. This was free to just read like this online. This is free to read online like this. Y'all can read the whole book like this if you want to. Okay. Goes on to say, we're right here. So she found a very powerful way to let us all know just how fragile, alone, and confused she was. What happened next changed me in a way that I'll probably never fully understand. And it taught me that most people, no matter how well-intentioned, can't step outside of their own assumptions about life and others unless someone whacks them on the head with a very big sledgehammer. Notice that I just made this whole thing about me again. You think you've made progress, grown a little, but then there it is. Well, at least he's open about himself. I remember that school had not yet let out, but that it was warm. So that puts it somewhere in May, the end of May, maybe. I know that it was before my 17th birthday. So right before his 17th birthday. So yeah, self-aware. So he was 16 when all this was going on. When he met her and when she confided in him, he was 16. It's gross to me that I cannot remember the exact day and telling. Ben and I were at his place. I had long since moved back home by then, but Ben and I still spent a lot of time together. He lived only a mile or so down the road into town from Kelly. Whenever I dropped her off, I would go immediately to post-mortem the day with him. To kill the rest of the day with him. It's a very strange way to put it, but you know. Okay. That day, Kelly and I had been out sailing with my family and friends from church. I was brooding and inattentive. She played with some toddlers who were along for the ride. I dropped her off that evening and headed directly for Ben's to whine. She was just not getting through to me. Before dark, the phone rang in Ben's room, and it was Kelly. I immediately recognized an unusual sluggishness in her voice, like she was drunk. I asked her where she was calling from, and she said she was calling from her bedroom. Then she said that she couldn't feel her legs and that she wanted to go to sleep because she was very tired. Did she freaking drug herself? She had taken almost a full bottle of over-the-counter rubbing alcohol, which I'm told is a potentially fatal amount. Oh my God. This was my fault, I kept thinking. My arrogance. If I had just listened and heard her, really heard her, then she wouldn't have needed to do this to herself. If she dies, it will be because I was not strong enough to see past my own self-interest to the hand that was reaching out to grab mine. While I kept her on the phone, Ben ran around to the neighbors' homes, begging them to let him in so he could use their phone to call the poison control center. This took almost a full 15 minutes because Indian Woods, the community that Ben lived in, was particularly paranoid about giving help to strangers or those who looked strange. Eventually, poison control began monitoring the call, and an emergency unit was dispatched to Kelly's home. They broke down the fence that enclosed the property. They smashed through the front door, bypassing her parents, oh my fucking God, and followed my instructions right into her bedroom. Then her father picked up the phone on the other end of the line and said, "Who the hell is this?" When I told him what was going on, he slammed the phone down while shouting, "Kelly, what the hell have you done?" No, bitch, what have you done by being quiet and allowing this to keep going? Oh my God. And just side note right now, okay? There's a woman on TikTok whose son sexually assaulted her daughter, and she is very open about it because she wants her daughter to be heard and she wants her son to take accountability, and she doesn't want to be known or have any assumptions that she's this mom that's taken, protecting her son from being a piece of shit. So the son is out there and he has a TikTok and he is not taking accountability and kind of pissed off that his mom's even out here, but she only had to come out into the public because he's out there running his mouth. And now she's trying to make sure that her daughter doesn't feel hidden. And it's just crazy. It's just so crazy to me that there are families, cops will be called, rumors will, not even rumors, but the story will be spread, and then they still do nothing. They still do absolutely nothing. He was very angry about the cost of the doors, the fence, and the ambulance ride. What a piece of shit. And they told her while she was recovering that night in the hospital. So the parents who have protected the piece of shit for years are now pissed off at the daughter. Oh my God. What pieces of shit? What pieces of actual shit? The next day, Kelly was released from the hospital, and I spent the day at her house with her. I sat on this very comfortable couch, and she slept with her head on my chest, leaving a big pool of drool. The smell of her perfume was on everything. Beautiful by Estee Lauder. And I just kept running my right hand over and over her face and through her hair. The quiet after the storm. What a moment of pure exhaustion and pure relief that must have been for her. For me, it was a moment of honesty, of realization and resolution. I think that was probably the first time I realized that people outside of myself could be hurt and that their pain mattered. This was something that is supposed to have become evident in one's moral development by the time one is 8 or 9, but I've always been a little slow emotionally. Her mother came in once or twice to speak to me. She kept asking for you at the hospital. Did she tell you why she did this? Do you know why she did this? Her mother asked, and I could tell she was really concerned, even a bit confused. But it was not a conversation that I was able to have with Kelly's mother. All that I could think of then was that Kelly could have died and that she did not deserve to be marginalized or ignored. I knew what a suicide attempt was. She needed me to hold on and not let go. I resolved from that point forward to hear her before I heard anything else, and it was that day that I surrendered whatever good judgment I had left. Kelly went into weekly family therapy that consisted of her and her mother. Her father did not wish to participate, and her oldest brother, the abuser, was married and living in Florida. I really wish I could be real fucking honest with y'all right now about a fucking story in my family that is just this sick. Not my household, but a generation before mine. That piece of shit went off to be a deacon. And then the person that he abused when she was a child was forced by their mother to hold his hand as he died of cancer in a hospital bed because she couldn't get there. The mother couldn't be there, so she sent the daughter that this person abused to hold his hand as he fucking passed away. My God. This is insane. But I get it. I get why he's doing what he's doing. In therapy, she talked about her brother sexually abusing her for so many years. She also disclosed the relationship with Joe from Tampa Bay, and the more recent are at the hands of her Christian boyfriend. Both parents were in disbelief, but maintained stringent denial. They knew, though. They already knew about the freaking brother. So they can pretend all they wanted to. They already made it clear that they knew. They even told both Kelly and the therapist that they thought her brother had only tried to have sex with her one time. Oh my God. My God. You sick fucks. Yeah. Wow. Unbelievable. No, it was the friend he only tried to sleep with once. He was touching your daughter all the time, you fucking assholes. Holy shit. Needless to say, both parents came to focus on me as the cause of their current family's pain. I had stirred embers that had been left to die down, they believed. After all, from their point of view, Kelly was the current problem and not the improprieties of their son so many years ago. Yeah, because she's speaking out. that was evident from all of the things that Kelly had let happen since then. That was where the focus needed to be. The therapist agreed. Kelly was scheduled to move away with her family to Georgia in August. She did not want to go. First, because we had grown very close, and second, because her older brother, who lived in Florida, was really looking forward to her return, you fucking sick freak, and had stated a number of times how mature she was looking lately. I'm about to puke. I'm about to puke. Oh my God, I'm about to throw up for real. When the time came, she refused to get on the plane. She was taken over by juvenile hall and told that she could either get on the plane willingly or be handcuffed and thrown on the plane as a prisoner. Bitch, cuff me. I'm punching you in your throat. Cuff me. Are you serious? We later learned that this would not have been legal, as she was still a legal resident of Oregon, but she didn't know it at the time and complied in fear. Yeah, she was a kid. Oh, you pieces of shit. Oh my God, these parents need to be in prison for life. Prison for life. Oh my God. Within a week of being in Georgia, she ran away. The 4 days that she was missing were the longest of my life. The opening lines from the Inferno came to mind. Midway in our life's journey, I went astray from the straight road and woke to find myself alone in a dark wood. Its very memory gives a shape of fear. Every person I encountered, from my parents to law enforcement to counselors, told me that her chances of survival on her own were very low. That she was likely dead, they told me. Oh my God, can you imagine being 17 and being told this shit? He's not obsessed with it. Why do you keep... What is wrong with you? He's telling one simple story, which is not simple at all, about something that happened that made him want to get into this field. The same way that my uncle's brutal fucking murder made me want to get into the field that I got in with my degree, where my passions are. How the hell is him telling a story, him being obsessed with it? I think you're obsessed with Turvey, because you've said that like 25,000 freaking million times. I've seen every single time you've said it. Maybe you have an obsession. Maybe you have the obsession. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? I think you're a little ridiculous. I think you need to shut up and actually listen to the story that he's telling you, because he's telling a story of someone's life. Instead of listening to what you're being told, you're running your mouth saying that he seems obsessed with what? Heartbreak? Watching this unfold at a young age? I don't give a fuck if you didn't like the details. The details aren't yours to fucking like. They're someone's actual fucking story. Who the fuck are you? I didn't like the details. Well, nobody likes details of fucking rape, idiot. What are you talking about? You're dumb. As dumb as they can get. Pathetic. I don't like the details. Get the fuck out of here then. Get out of true crime. I don't like the details. What the fuck are you here for? Dumbass. All you do is give me a clip of kicking out of dumb shit. You say one more dumbass thing. Oh, there you are. Okay, well, I'm just not even going to deal. You're like a dumb shit, and I don't have time for dumb shits. Goodbye. Exactly. You're not supposed to fucking like it. What kind of weird shit is that? Oh, I didn't like the details. What the are you supposed to? Is this a Disney film? Fucking weirdo, bro. Ugh. People that act like that are the problem. People that act like that need their search history and their lives dug into because they're doing something. If they are offended, the same way that the weird freaking French professor is so fucking offended by how Bryan Kohberger was so against sex offenders, bitch, you need your hard drive checked. This is real life, you dumb shit. I didn't like the details. You're fucking stupid. My God. Any fucking way. Back to real life. Where people do get shot and stabbed. Holy crap. Nobody likes it. Dumbass. My friend Andy from back in high school, he used to say that all the time. When we would just like get into a part of a conversation where it was just getting like, you know, regular out of hand high school conversations, he'd always say, okay, now back to the real world where people get shot and stabbed. I'm like, yeah, thanks for the reality check, broski, because that was true, you know. God damn. Okay, let's finish this very sad story because it deserves to be finished. I didn't know that this was going to be this crazy. I didn't know this was going to be the story. I didn't even bother. I knew that we were going to end up going through, you know, all of this stuff. And I knew that there was a link on it, but I didn't know that I was going to be able to read it. So I'm glad that we went further with that because damn. Okay, let's finish what this has to say. This is crazy. I can imagine that this was freaking crazy. Okay, I was told the horror stories of hitchhikers who had accepted rides from the wrong people and the survival rates of runaways. I was shown pictures that fed my fears. Looking back on that time now, I cannot believe the misguided and horribly ignorant information that law enforcement and counselors were giving me. On the evening of the 4th day, Kelly called me from Louisville, Kentucky. The relief I felt was overwhelming. She told me that she'd hitched a ride with a trucker headed cross country and intended to either go to California to be with friends there or to Oregon. Either way, she was determined not to go back. I went to the bank, emptied out my college fund, and bought her a plane ticket to SeaTac Airport in Washington State. I picked her up the next day, and we spent the next 2 months hiding out, calling her parents to negotiate some sort of peaceful end, and waiting for December to roll around so that Kelly could turn 16 and declare herself an emancipated minor. So she was 15 while he was 16 and dealing with all this crazy shit. Man. I was particularly concerned because her parents, while she was missing, had already arranged for Kelly to become a full-time resident of the Bradley Center. This is a private, secure mental hospital. Oh, you pieces of fucking actual shit. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Wow. She wasn't molested. She's just crazy. She wasn't raped. She's just insane. Oh my God. Her parents explained how this was just what she needed and how it would help her to forget the past. When I told Kelly about her parents' plans, she took away any doubts that she was doing the right thing. We knew that things could not continue the way they were, however. She tried to keep our lives from being completely on hold until she turned 16. And that's where it stops. She what? Yeah, that's where it stops. I guess it doesn't give the whole thing. Well, now I don't know how it ended. But that seems to be, I guess this is just a preview. I guess. Yeah, I need to know what happened. I want to know how it ends. I'll do some more research on it. And if I have to buy the damn book, I mean, hell. I don't know if, I mean, it might be the whole thing. I don't know, but it's like that part's not in there anymore. That's where it ends. That's where the page ends. That's crazy as shit. That is crazy. That's crazy. It's called Criminal Profiling. Is that the one? No, it's the Rape Investigation Handbook. Here, I'll give you all this link just so that you can see like the title and stuff like that. Yeah, it's a book Turvey wrote. It's a book Turvey wrote. Let's see what it looks like outside of this. Rape Investigation Handbook. Print Turvey. So it was written by two people, John Osavino and Brent Turvey. And this is what it looks like right here. Interesting. Well, again, there's no allegations against Turvey. There's no allegations against Dr. Brent Turvey. This went over an hour, which is fine. Everything that I can find on the internet, because I did some research myself, and then I went to ChatGPT again just to see if maybe it found something that I didn't find, and it didn't find anything against him. It found a story of how he got into this and how what he saw someone else going through and the disgusting display that was put on by her disgusting ass parents, how it affected him. Yeah. So basically, Turvey has been a good guy with morals and integrity for a very long time. Seems like it. The very opposite of Steve Goncalves, which is why he's so intimidated by him. You know, there's some interesting shit going around TikTok right now that I'm going to do my own research on before I talk about it. At least at length. But let me just look at the chat and ask if you guys have seen this. Have you guys seen anyone on TikTok talking about finding that Marcia Seahall, I guess is her last name, the lady that is signed on to a lot of like the Cloud 7 VIP stuff that the Goncalves has owned and a couple other things? Did y'all see on TikTok that people are finding her name in the Epstein documents? Like y'all know, I don't like Phoenix. I think she's a psychopath. But she found some stuff in documents and put it together, and then True Crime Design commented on it. And this is like the clip that's going around on TikTok. I haven't seen the original stuff. I've just seen people talking about it on TikTok. You've seen it. Okay, some of y'all have seen it. Okay. So yeah, Phoenix has apparently found where in the Epstein files, the Marcia lady's name is mentioned directly for things that are related to Epstein. And then her name is also associated with some of the things that the Goncalves have put together. And then there's a really weird comment that someone found on the Goncalves family page talking about when they used to take Maddie out on out of the country on vacations. And in one of the comments, oh, y'all did see that. Hell yeah. So y'all all seeing that shit. Yeah, that's some crazy shit. So I'm going to look into it myself. I feel like there's a reason why he's bringing up going overseas on airplanes and having, sex with minors and shit the way he did over on Drunk Turkey's interview. That's what I'm saying. If y'all haven't seen the whole thing yet, like by itself, and you don't want to go watch it on Daniel's, it's on the archive channel. He says some real weird shit and just some really weird shit. Lots of things that give you lots of pause. Okay. But there's a comment that Christy made on the Facebook page that somebody took a screenshot of that's also going around with this stuff, where she mentions how Maddie would cry for her mom when they were out of the country on vacation. And I'm like, why the hell would you tell people that? Like, if she was with you all the time and went to other vacations with you in the States and didn't cry for her mom, how come only on vacations out of the country she would cry for her mom? Why would you say that? And then how they're always posting their underage children in their bikinis all over the place. Well, they also had pictures of Maddie when she was a child, like a teen in her bikini and stuff, just all over their freaking social media. So people are really questioning trafficking. Yeah. People are really questioning if certain things are being allowed to happen with these girls when they were out of the country with the Goncalves for things. I don't know. There's just a lot. And when you have things out there that are public record and then they say really crazy shit and then you have 1.5 million questions, It's okay to ask questions with receipts. It's okay to take Epstein documents and business documents that actually have the Goncalves' name, address, and their banking account and information on there, and then statements that Christy makes, and then the way that they actually basically, have people window shopping their children all over the freaking place in their bikinis. Yeah, you have to question some things. You have to question some things. It's worth putting it together to see why people are thinking that it's a possibility, and you can question it without saying that that's a definite. You can say, hey, this lady's name's on this, and this lady's name's also on this, and this is just really freaking weird. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I think it's creepy. What do you think? Let me know. It's just questions. And he does it to his damn self. There's a reason why he's out here hiding shit. There's a reason why he came out here. Both of them came out here lying from the jump, out the gate. There's a reason why everything they tell us is inconsistent. There's a reason why he can't tell the same story twice without something being completely opposite of what he said before. She's the exact same way. They've done it for so long that we can tell their tells. We know when he does this weird certain turn with his head, with his hands, that he's full of shit. We can tell that when she touches her ear with her hand that she's lying. We can see certain things. So it's a question. And I know there's lots of documentation with it, speaking of him stuttering, I listened to an interview today where he says his own last name is Gonzalez. He says his own last name as Gonzalez. I went back and verified and listened to it like 18 times. He says his own last name as Gonzalez. That's crazy as shit. It's crazy as shit. But yeah, I'll be live again later today. We've got plenty of time to do more things. So I'll probably be live twice today. Lots to talk about. I took some time off because of the cat stress and then the new cat coming in. But it's time to get back. Time to kick it back into grrr. So I'm going to get off of here. I'm going to go on my walk, and then I'm going to get ready for my ad thingy, and then I'll be back. We're going to talk about some more of these Goncalves lies because it's very important. And the fact that they can't keep their stories straight about a very, very, very important date is extremely telling. Because we get one story from Steve, but we, get a whole nother story from Christy, and they're sitting next to each other as both these stories are being told. And they're just letting these two completely different stories come out and not be honest about literally anything. And it's just really stupid, and I'm so tired of it. So we're going to talk about that. Yes, he is so cute. He's over here asleep. I can't wait till he lets us start picking him up and stuff. He's so silky. He's literally so silky, like a satin sheet. Thank you for all the jewels, you guys. Thank you for being a member for 2 months, JJPP. And thank you for the gifted membership. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. You need to get out this chair. Walk around for a little while. I will see you guys soon. Thank you so much for coming in here. I hope that someone tells Steve he better watch himself. Because there's nothing out here to say anything about Brent Turvey. And this is a man with an actual reputation as somebody who has a big stance in the courtroom and that has sued for defamation before and is not afraid to do it again, I'm sure. Maybe he won't because, like the Kohbergers, he sees Steve as, the parent of a victim or a victim himself, and he knows that he's just absolutely out of his mind, and maybe he's going to be giving him some grace. I would not. But, there's a reason why I'm me and other people aren't. and they can do all of that, but I sure the hell would not be giving this man any grace. I sure the hell would not. All right, you guys, I'll be back soon. Have a great rest of your day. If I don't see you later, if I do see you later, I'll see you in a few hours. Make sure that you get your snacks and your coffee because today's going to be an interesting day. Make sure this asset's on here. Outro video. All Idaho. There we go. All right, you guys. I will see you very, very soon. See y'all.